monthly website of pretty much every single distribution network operator anyway. So each DNO has its, EDF has Power Up and Western Power has, can't remember the name of it, something else. They've all got their own little section where they either do school visits or they've got a website. So they do exist. They just have varying levels of, I suppose, commitment. Or
whilst there's an element of, as you said, and it's not right that it exists, but there is some form of competition that exists, and people don't seem to talk across those boundaries. The lessons, so one energy company and another electricity company, etc., when they're going out and doing schools programs, when they're producing material, is there a common guide that says, right, we are going to concentrate on the 2 key incidences of unintended injury related to, and they will concentrate on the same 2? Because it sounds to me that if people aren't actually talking, and this is often the problem we're seeing here, is that if we can bad word, good word, look at bodies that have that national kind of identity, then the hope is that those with a national identity have that common rule, common experience that spreads through. Because with all due respect, the smaller the organisation, down that chain we go, if there is communication difficulties as a result of feel of competition, etc., then those views are somewhat bipolar almost. I mean, it beggars belief why it happens, because there shouldn't be competition between such organisations. Should be shared experience, but I just kind of get the feeling that one organisation is going to be talking about one issue, the other is going to be talking about another issue, and actually we're talking about the same issue.
I just sort of...
Is there crossover? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you went onto EDF's website, I mean, don't go onto ours at the moment, it's in production, we need to sort that. I'll let you know when it's launched, it's pretty much nice. But if you go onto it, it's the same topic, so it's safety, sort of electrical safety in home, dry your hands before touching switches. Then it's out and about the electric journey, so from the power station to your home, how it gets there and what dangers are on the way, and it's overhead line safety and substation safety. It's all the same kind of thing. I mean, what we're trying to do and what they seem to be doing is tying it into the curriculum, creating lesson plans or some kind of curriculum links and workshops for the teachers to deliver that message to the kids, but also a child-friendly website where they can go on and play games, which just reinforces the messages. We all seem to have our own version of that. I think the variation comes where, say we might put in X amount of funding, they might put in Y amount of funding. You don't know. We might have a bigger budget, we might have a smaller budget than EDF do for their safety programme as such.
But isn't there a national electricity body that encompasses all electricity companies? Because it would make prudent sense we all know how much it costs to set up a website. We all know how much it costs for research and development into product lines, into branding. There's an enormous amount of expense that, quite frankly, if it was by a national body who said, let's do a collective website, the collective website is, it's got your name at the top of it, but it does the same thing as these guys over there. It's got their name at the top of it, but it's the same
fire service
website.
haven't even got that, have you? The fire service have all got different,
things.
Every different fire service
I mean,
has got a different thing.
I know as a brand, the expense of developing a brand in terms of a character. Once you've developed that brand,
it really varies.
Absolutely.
In Sina's case, she's going to be finishing school for year 13. So she'll be going to college. She's not going to have much time in school once she finishes. And to answer your question about impact, it is very difficult. But I mean, what we'll do at the end of the placement is evaluate what happens. And by the fact that we are putting her through the same induction that we put our staff through, I think, we try and demonstrate how seriously we take it and make sure that, they get the best when they come to us, really.
Are there any other ideas of going back to the school, going back to this, you were saying about building on the site bits, is something we could do, I think, really make more interesting. Anyone sort of think of sort of practical activities? Because that is the thing I think we need to build on.
Yeah, it is the practical activities, but it's also getting the young people to realise what the consequences of the risk and not following risk assessments and X, Y and Z. Because a lot of young people, certainly the ones I've worked with recently,
That's right, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I think I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
That is more stimulating.
you bounce ideas off of it. It is more stimulating, and it's actually the way that I prefer to work and the way that I can keep.
It's very rare you actually go on. I mean, I do in the summer because my downtime. We're absolutely hideously busy, but it's a time that I allocate for research. So I will set myself a topic over the summer, and at the moment one of my topics is what succession planning is there for permanent and temporary sites that lose their funding. So I'm doing some research into ones that have died 2 or so years ago to see what succession planning has been put in place. And they, having experienced this come further down the timeline, further back in the timeline, are actually still managing to provide, because that may have echoes for 5 years down the line or 3 years down the line. And it's very rare. I mean, sometimes I go on the most unpromising visits, which only promise listening to Radio 4 and possibly a nice sandwich in the middle of the day. But it's actually very rare that you go on something like that and you don't get something out of it, because it will lead to something else.
So you're in regular contact with Ian, are you? He's very
He's
approachable.
gone under recently. I've not spoken to him for about 3 months, but apparently he's beavering away like hell.
He is.
But,
He couldn't make it here, but he's. I'm constantly on the phone because anything going on in London. He's a great guy as well.
I have a lot of respect for him because he's walked the talk for many years.
Yes.
And he's well connected.
Yeah, so I'm in regular contact because we feed off each other as well. Because a lot of the junior sits are run in London by the Met Police, and I've been involved with them as well. So I've been the person sat there doing that scenario in a junior sits program, as well as
But we have some good funding, some good funding from the Environment Agency. You haven't until recently, and it's for a different aspect of the Environment Agency's work from we talk about flood awareness. So it depends where you are and how they see that they're achieving their actions. So what's the action point then?
We all boycott electricity. So
when I think about GIMS, someone says like building up databases and of your contacts and get the CSEC to then contact them and get invited to safety partnerships. So using what you've got, getting contacts from you.
And commercial point of view, it'd be useful for more sound bites on interesting developments from one meeting to the other, from members, from CSEC coordinators and beyond. So in other words, an information session, quick fire, and then any member that's interested in taking it further can do that. So there's going to be information that we've received perhaps that isn't on the newsletter, or that each coordinator, that we could collate all this information and have it just thrown at members at these meetings, because we're from such a mixed range of, a bit like speed dating.
I like that, yeah.
I like that, so I wrote that down. The newsletter, waste of money to be sent out, we felt, to members. A PDF file would be much better, not just because of the cost, but the marketing image as well. So if anybody wants newsletters, yeah, if this is just what we had in the discussion. But what we came up with was that the newsletter should be in paper form. It is useful as a tool for promoting CSEC, and any members that require paper copy can have that on request. But to send out to 103 members, cost-wise and marketing-wise, may not be necessarily a good one. So to look at that.
Excellent. Brilliant. At meetings like this, would it be useful to have members being able to showcase, have stands and things